Alright. Welcome back to What's Niggling Me. Ooh, I think this bitch is on tilt. Oh, fuck. Here we go. Welcome back to What's Niggling Me. I'm gonna start with my lighthearted stuff first. I want the Eagles to beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And it's going to be super hard. Because years ago, Seattle used to have the 12th man. Not the police. It was the crowd. That's what they called the 12. Seen fuckloads of jerseys with it. The stadium was so loud. The Seattle stadium, when Russell Wilson was there, they were the Legion of Boom. They're fucking dominant. And maybe they were pumping sound in. Maybe Kansas City's pumping sound in. But that's nothing. Sound, fans, is nothing compared to having the refs on your side. And possibly the NFL. I've been saying it since last year. I don't believe that this was a surprise to anybody that the Chiefs would be back in the Super Bowl by any means. The NFL, all sports, is entertainment. It's all like WWF, WWE wrestling. It's real, but it's not real. It's entertainment. They put entertainment for a reason. Like they state, it's entertainment. You really shouldn't be able to bet on it because the refs, as proven in the NBA, can be bought and paid for. And you can call a holding call on every single play in the NFL. You can move the ball to determine a first down some inches. The refs don't get paid that much fucking money comparative to the organization and everybody else in it. You gotta make it too big to rig. I'll be watching. I haven't been this excited for a Super Bowl in a long time. A long time. I haven't watched a Super Bowl halftime. Well, I guess I watched the 50 Cent one. But I wasn't even that excited for that one for some reason, as I am for this one. For Kendrick to... how is he going to... What's the set list going to be? What's the performance going to be like? He's not like a big performer. How will he bring Aubrey out? I hope he gets the whole stadium to yell out certified pedophile. So he's got another line in there, and that brings me to the darker subject I'd like to talk about today. I talked about wasn't going in depth or anything, but I mentioned quantum mechanics and quantum physics. I don't know, within the last 10 episodes, about what happened to flight MH370 and the technology that I believe the United States and China possess is literally otherworldly. You would it's unbelievable to the majority of people, because the majority of people are just immersed in daily life and whatever stupid TV show they're putting on. So the father of quantum mechanics, Kendrick would say, I heard he liked him young. He's dead. He was the father of quantum mechanics, and he liked him young. He's one of these people, in Toronto, I heard. I'm from Canada. Not a Drake fucking fanboy like the majority of fucking people here. But in Toronto, they're gonna rename all the schools that are named after oppressors. If we're gonna just go around the fucking country doing that, it's gonna get insane. Justin Trudeau is an oppressor. He's an oppressor, so we better not name anything after him. He was an oppressor during COVID. But Schrodinger, this guy, Erwin Schrodinger is this guy's name. Let me pull him up. I got a couple tabs here, because I just got on to other people, after I'm looking up this guy, and what's crazy, the godfather of quantum mechanics was born in the 1800s. And when I thought about quantum mechanics, I thought that shit was like some decades old. It's not. Fuck, my joint went out. He's known for this Schrodinger's cat thing, which is a stupid thing in my opinion. When I look at it, it's like, well, that might have been a fascinating hypothesis back in the day. I think it's fucking dumb. If you look it up, you'll probably think it's fucking dumb too. So this guy was like a Nobel Prize guy. This guy was just a fucking celebrity, because back in the day, especially before sports got like popular, the famous people were fucking nerds for the most part. They were like leaders in war and fucking nerds, because they were inventing things, right? You know what I mean? Like Einstein, the fucking person that's inventing things like that today is not a fucking, nobody's trying to fuck him. You know what I mean? These scientists, they were fucking tons of women. Back in the day, these guys were highly sought after. Look at fucking Stephen Hawking. The guy couldn't even fucking move. No, I think he was, I don't know, I guess. I've heard nasty things about him on Epstein Island, but they're assumptions. He'll never be proven guilty. In Bill Gates' words, he's dead. So this guy, yeah, Schrodinger, just a great academic mind. But he liked him young. See, this guy had this crazy thought. He was sexually abusing minors, this guy. Let me read a tiny bit about this guy. Austrian-Irish theoretical physicist who developed fundamental results in quantum theory. In particular, he's recognized for the Schrodinger equation. An equation that provides a way to calculate the wave function of a system and how it changes dynamically in time. I know it's crazy and confusing, but it's like he was figured out like space and time. The guy figured out space and time, apparently. Apparently. How am I supposed to believe or know? I can't disprove or prove the sun is however many fucking miles away, and how the moon's however many miles away. I just have to believe like the fucking people, right? You don't know. Can't prove it. I can prove like how big this joint is, but I can't prove how far the clouds are from me right now. I don't know. Just gotta take people's words for it. He coined the term quantum entanglement. And this guy was doing this kind of stuff in the 30s. So for almost 100 years, the quantum mechanics stuff, the trajectory began. But posthumously, or I don't even know. I just read that word. I don't know. I don't think I ever heard anybody I don't know how to pronounce that word. But after he fucking died, going through his diaries and his works and stuff, they noticed that this guy preferred girls to have a stunted mind. He didn't believe that women were as intelligent as men. Or he didn't believe they weren't. He didn't believe they could be. He didn't believe they could access the intellect he could. And he was smart, but like, born in 87. His views are different. Died in 61. My parents were born a little after that. Johnson & Johnson, it was for the time. They used the, we shot asbestos into people because that was normal for the times. For the times when this guy was working, wild shit was happening. All over the world, okay? All over the world, wild shit was happening. Okay. Let's go here. I'm gonna look about Irwin. Now, I don't know if, and it could be a mixture of I'm not smart enough, or they just wrote and spoke so differently a few generations ago that it's hard for me to understand these things, or like some of the quotes. This guy said, this is quotes, it seems to be the usual thing that men of strong, genuine intellectuality, just feels like that's not the word I would use, or the wording I would use, but it's so tough. Genuine intellectually, that's such a weird fucking word, are immensely attracted only by women who, forming the very beginning of the intellectual series, are as nearly connected to the preferred springs of nature as they themselves. Nothing intermediate will do, since no woman will ever approach nearer to genius by intellectual education than some unintellectuals do by birth, so to speak. Now that is fucking confusing, right? He believed that women shouldn't get educated after basically like grade school. They didn't have that, but like a grade school level. They should keep their innocence. I remember reading him saying they should keep their innocence. This guy, in one of his things, the parents had to have a priest stop this guy. I got multiple people's things going on here. I got multiple people's things in here in my notes. Jesus fucking Christ. Just rereading what I read before is insane, but I don't know if that's for this person. I know I had something else about this guy. About the girls. Jeez, there's so many fucking things I got going on here. Schrodinger. He likes him young. I got multiple people here I'm thinking about. But my big thing about one thing he did mention in that quote is he's saying this fucking 100 years ago almost. It seems to be the usual thing that men of strong, genuine, like intellect. That word is so weird. Intellectual with ity on the end of it is fucking weird to use in a sentence. Genuine, like intellect, are immensely attracted only by women who basically, in the rest of this, are innocents. That they shouldn't get educated and they should keep their innocence. Now, this guy's saying that long ago, and then you start thinking about these pedophiles that have gotten taken down. And we'll say, like, accused. And because there's no justice, if you are powerful, for the most part, the government lets these people get away with it. So, like, Stephen Hawking was accused post-death. Bill Clinton, no repercussions. Bill Gates. So those are the accused. Right there, I can think of real quick. But powerful people keep getting caught. And this guy says, it seems to be the usual thing. That's fucking weird, saying that a long time ago. Because now I see over time these powerful people doing these things. And other people. But they get some power and then they do pretty fucked up things. So that's Schrodinger. And then... So Schrodinger liking young girls. Admitted to impregnating a 17-year-old. Admitted. But I did see that people are looking to take his name away off stuff and stuff like that. Whatever. He's disgusting. Now, I was reading this thing, and this sounds nuts. I didn't look it up. But doesn't this sound nuts? Research done in the 90s that suggests that kiddie porn does not make pedophiles more prone to engage in real-world sex with children, and that indeed it may give pedophiles a harmless outlet for their sexual urges. That's fucking crazy. How do you do the research on that? Who the fuck? How do you do the research on that? I don't fucking know. This idea seems to be buttressed. I don't know what that word means, but I'm going to say corroborated by 1999 and 2011 research, also cited by Moan. When Japan and the Czech Republic lifted their bans on kiddie porn, the rates of child rape dropped. From those two countries' criminal justice experiences, Moon concluded that, granted our current knowledge, it therefore seems that text and computer-generated graphics with pedophilic content may result in less adult child sex. Crazy research. Whoever's doing that, and however you go about that. The Czech Republic and Japan are two totally different cultures, no disrespect, but I can see the Czech Republic trying that out. I can't see Japan trying that out. That's crazy that apparently Japan tried it out. I didn't look if they did. But this was a pretty thorough article. A pretty thorough story. And I just happened to notice, or like read that part. And I'm like, whoa. Never heard that. Wild to, I don't even know what government department that this person would be in, to just like propose the idea that, hey, let's research this. And then the research was good enough for the government to be like, okay, child porn is allowed. Because I don't know if they take into the equation, like, how is it being made? Because that was my initial thought, is it's illegal. How's it being created? That's the problem. And my best example is, even though there's fucking tons of deplorable examples, look up Jared Fogle, the subway guy, the two people, the husband and wife, that were implicated as well. It's all horrible. What those two did shows you what mankind can do, what people are capable of. They sold their daughter and her friends unknowingly. They didn't know. They had cameras set up in their rooms. They're in high school. Got her, let their daughter have parties, supplied alcohol and weed and shit, and had their friends and her fucking like in the room, and they didn't know, they're all fucked up, and they videotaped it and they sold it on the internet. Pretty fucking crazy. Didn't see that spread on the news anywhere. It's a pretty big fucking deal. I don't think many people know it, because they don't put that shit on the news. But there's sick fucks out there like that. They're not the only people. The woman that says that she was trafficked to Pierre Trudeau said her mom sold her to Pierre Trudeau at the governor mansion in Michigan. People are fucked. On to another person that's fucked. Let's see here. Just trying to give you nuggets, and maybe you go look them up and you're like, whoa, what the fuck? I'm always finding these wild fucking things. I tried to get a story of this guy, Gottlieb. Yeah, this guy's incredible. As far as I know, no pedophilia. This guy was doing experiments on Americans. Which will bring me to the experiments on the Canadians that I'm sure were funded by the Americans. Like the same program. But the MK Ultra program. Gottlieb. What do I got for here for Gottlieb? Pretty crazy motherfucker, this guy. Gottlieb. Oh yeah. Why I stumbled on I knew about him, but I like was looking at him and I wanted to know more. So you can't use Google. Google sucks. Google doesn't want you to look up stuff. Google didn't want me to look up. Google didn't like. Ooh, this one. Planned Parenthood. Well, Planned Parenthood, what these motherfuckers were up to back in the day. Man, everyone's like all on Hitler. You know where this motherfucker Hitler got his ideas? The Americans. Okay? What the Americans were up to were all about sterilizing. Americans sterilized and sterilized. Okay? Oh, they passed a law. Law 116. I don't have it on my phone. Pretty sure Law 116, Puerto Rico. Google. You can Google that one, and I know you'll find it. Forced sterilization of the feeble-minded. Planned Parenthood, birth control. They were experimenting on Latin and Black women. They were experimenting. Guinea pigs. In the 1930s, all of the Latin and Black women were guinea pigs. It was like, it was so crazy. The eugenics, that's what it was back then. It was eugenics, which turned into Planned Parenthood. They were doing this shit up to the 70s. While Bill Gates' dad was on the board of Planned Parenthood, they did this into the 70s. Until like 72, 3, 4, something like that. They were sterilizing minors. There's lawsuits for sterilizing minors. Fucking insane. Up into the 70s. The 30s to the 70s. Crazy. Going to Puerto Rico, bunch of them didn't even speak English. Getting the consent and fucking sterilizing women. Crazy. That's pretty easy to find. But they didn't want me to find the name of the person that was doing that. Which was... this guy. Dr. Hazeldens. Dr. Hazeldens. This guy was saying the craziest shit. Back then, academics of all fields, like physicians, dentists, pharmacists, they'd have they'd have like forums all the time, the new advances and things and new ideas and stuff like that, you know, like when they were trying to take an appendix out for the first time, they set up in an not the first time, a bunch of times, the other doctors and stuff, they'd sit up in an auditorium and on stage they'd fucking do an appendix. They try and take an appendix out, and then the people could learn how to, and shit like that. 1800s, 1900s, it was pretty interesting. In cities, they were doing that like for big hospitals. That's how they learned how to fucking do a C-section. You know what I mean? Women were dying constantly. C-section was huge, but a lot of women had to die as they just got fucking gutted practicing and figuring out how to do it. Pretty insane when you think about those things. Most people probably don't want to think about those things. I get it. So this guy was if you came out of your mom and you had any deformity, this guy would just put you in an incubator and he would just leave you to die. You wouldn't get fed or anything like that. That's what this guy was doing. And he said, Spartans did it. They just left you out in the elements. That's what he said. Left you out in the elements.
This guy expressed his commitment to sterilization of the unfit, including all those who had been confined to an institution for the feeble-minded, for more than 1 year. I took a picture of that on there with that. It says many more commentators took a direct eugenic approach. Hazeltine did the right thing in limiting the number of parasitic degenerates who would pollute the national stock and drain public services. All such babies should be put to death upon birth. This is Dr. John Dill Robertson. That's his testimony before the coroner's jury. After all, weak babies in ancient Sparta were unsentimentally exposed to the elements to die. They called him the Black Stork. That's what they called this Hazel Dens guy. Hazel Den. Dr. Hazel Den. This guy. Yeah, the Black Stork. Any deformities? Gone. But the Gottlieb, MK Ultra, and more. This guy was electroshocking people. Okay, people died when this guy was doing this. He did LSD experiments, and he tried. So, I don't know when I started this. How long are we at? 30 minutes. Okay. So, after the Korean War, they were really interested in, the Americans believed that their soldiers, the Americans that got taken as prisoners of war from the Koreans came back. When they got them back, they believed that they were mind controlled. Because some of them didn't. Apparently, some Americans wanted to stay in Korea. They were that brainwashed. So they were fascinated with that. I got a side note of that I heard some pretty crazy experiments, some pretty crazy mind control experiments that were going on before this. That I'm pretty sure I don't know what this Gottlieb was doing. I don't know all. You know why? Because during this is why I went down this rabbit hole. Because Tulsi Gabbard, during her hearing, one of the senators asked her about full. I wrote it in my notes, I think. A full report on the CIA torture program, and I'm like, I'd love to know the whole thing, because I feel like I know a good amount, and it's pretty fucked up, the shit they were doing. The shit they were doing in Guantanamo Bay and over in Iraq and other black sites that they were capturing people. That's their fucking thing. They're not allowed to do this stuff on American soil. They're not allowed to torture on American soil. So they go and torture all around the world on black sites. That's why they have 800 fucking military bases all over the world. These motherfuckers, the United States, decided we need our own fucking torture program. We need our own. We want to make a Manchurian Candidate. We want to be able to brainwash a person. Like, maybe somebody could kill a president. Maybe somebody could shoot a president in the head. if you are able to pull it off. And I know that they were trying during / kind of after World War II. I know that they were taking prisoners. This is pretty fucked up, okay? This is really fucked up. They were taking prisoners, okay, activists. The bigger the activist, they take all the activists and they put them in a prison. Once they capture them, they put them in a prison, okay? And they're in a small little room. Keep them awake, you know, the basic things. You keep them awake. You don't let them eat very much. Yeah, you keep the lights on all the time, 24/7, in a little room. But then, so you're trying to break these people. The goal, from everything I read, because different regimes are doing this stuff over the last, from what it seems, is in the 40s. As far back as I can go, I think that they were really, that was the goal, was control of someone's brain. What is it exactly? What's the phrase I'm looking for? Let me get you the phrase I'm looking for. Quote, Gottlieb wanted to create a way to seize control of people's minds. So you have to, from what I've read, is that you have to take this person back to an infant stage. Weird, I know. You have to take a person's, whatever their thoughts and everything, you have to demoralize them so much that they become, and if you ever watch Game of Thrones, Reek is what they called that guy. He made him believe his name was Reek. There's one guy that gets captured and tortured. And you're reverting these people back to infancy. And then you can build them back up with new ideas. That's part 2. Part 1 is the torture physically. You start, and then to the mind. So you're getting the basic torture that most people know about. But then, and you get some beatings and stuff. But then you are made to so if you've been in there for a long time, then the new people that come in that are prisoners, the prisoners that have been in for a long time, they have to watch over the other prisoners. Nexium, I imagine it's not going anymore, was a cult in the States. A big, well, it was worldwide, but mainly in the States. Big cult. And the subcult, that the people that eventually get arrested for that, this is the same kind of thing as that. The people that have been there the longest, they are now in charge of a person. If I've been there a long time, a newer inmate comes in, and now I'm ordered to watch over that inmate, and I have to beat him. I have to make sure he doesn't go to sleep when he's falling asleep. I'm supposed to whip him and stuff like that, and we keep him awake. And I know him, I have to do this, but I fought against this regime last year. We've both fought together, say, hypothetical, but I've been in here for 3 months now, and they've ordered me to treat this guy how I was treated when I came in. And If I don't, and the guards ask him, am I being too lenient? I'm sent back to square one into a cell, and now a prison that's another prisoner's watching over me. You are made to eat out of a dog bowl. You are made to shit in that same dog bowl. Sometimes you're made to, this is crazy, and I swear, like, these are accounts from the people that lived when they were saved from these prisons. They were forced to lick each other's buttholes, do crazy shit. They were trying to demoralize these people so much that they become basically like a newborn again. That's how fucked some people are to come up with the torture ideas. It's crazy shit that people were just bayoneting people. In Japan, they were fucking throwing babies up and catching them on bayonets. That's fucking crazy. But to come up with the torture stuff is fucking even crazier to me. To come up with different ideas. And Dick Cheney was full go fucking doing that shit in Iraq. Not that stuff, I don't think. I would love a full CIA torture report. I'd love to know all of their tactics that they've done. Not just waterboarding, that's the big one they throw out there. But for sure, there's way nastier shit. And people die. Gottlieb was electroshocking people. Sometimes they died. He was trying to start a brain from square one. And apparently that program was deactivated. It was stopped. But I don't believe. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. First, you had to blast away the existing mind. Second, you had to find a way to insert a new mind into that resulting void. We didn't get too far on number 2, but he did a lot of work on number 1. I think that's Alfred Kinzer that worked with him. Fuck, what did I do? So yeah, this guy experimented with special interrogation techniques on captured prisoners at black sites like Camp King and Villa Schuster, using drugs to attempt to break ego control and elicit information. So then I looked at, in Montreal, Canada, they were doing this at the same time. Dr. Donald Ewan Cameron led and conducted these experiments. The program is widely believed to have been partly funded by the United States Central Intelligence Agency. But the Canadian government also funded the project. They say it was in an effort to find a cure for schizophrenia. But at McGill University, they were doing this. A psychiatric teaching hospital affiliated with McGill University. Not McGill, but affiliated. Psychiatric experiments were conducted at the Allen Memorial Institute in Montreal, possibly as early as 1948 until 1964. But who says it stopped? So The black stork, though. Involuntary sterilization of mentally disabled people. Okay. 1937, a U.S. policy titled Law 116 stated that the U.S. territory of Puerto Rico, those who were feeble-minded and diseased, could be permanently sterilized. Lawmakers believed that these individuals were inept in making decisions about their reproductive abilities. Huh. They also did not want the mentally ill to pass on their genetic traits to their offspring. That law, 1937, went to 1960. It was repealed in 1960. 1937 to 1960. And they were mad about Tony Hinchcliffe. Bruh. So there was this lawsuit with the Ralph sisters who were involuntarily sterilized in 1973. It says in 1971, when Montgomery Community Action moved the Ralph family into public housing, the Family Planning Service began the unsolicited administration of experimental birth control injections. In 1973, Katie, a minor, had been taken to the family planning clinic where she had an IUD insertion procedure. They sterilized her instead. 1973, in June, 2 social workers from Montgomery Community visited the Ralph residence with concerns that young boys were hanging around. Minnie Lee and Mary Alice, who were both mentally disabled. Lonnie was not home. The Montgomery Community Association workers told Minnie that her daughters were going to receive some shots. The 3 were transported to a hospital where Minnie, who could neither read nor write, signed a consent form with X. She believed that Mary Alice and Minnie Lee were going to be given hormonal contraceptive injections as they had received previously. Later that day, Katie Reef, 17 years old at the time, was visited at her home by a nurse seeking to have her be sterilized. Being a minor and home alone, she refused, locking herself in a room. The following day, Lonnie went to visit his daughters at the hospital. When he arrived, he was advised that visiting hours were over and he could not see his daughters that day. 3 days later, the girls were sent home. Lonnie noticed surgical scars on both of his youngest daughter's bodies. He asked the social worker what happened. Realizing they had been sterilized, he filed a class action lawsuit. And that's probably the only reason that they were found out. And the judge found him, like, oh, let me give you the names, because these fucking pieces of shit deserve their names, right? Casper Weinberger, Secretary of the Department of Health, Education and Welfare, and then Director of Office of Economic Opportunity, Alvin J. Arnett. They acted to deny plaintiffs and their class status the right to procreate. Department of Health. That's who was leading the Department of Health in the 70s in the United States. The guy who was down to sterilize. I had to go on DuckDuckGo for that one. But sometimes you should go to Brave. It's a better app for a browser. Google is hard to find that. That was hard to find that. Ralph, and it's RELF versus Weinberger. Sterilizing people against their wishes. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy what people are up to. You know? Those are my thoughts. Why are people up to all these dirty deeds? That's what I'm always just curious about. Why are people always up to these dirty deeds? We need a lot. There's so many of these operations. You know? I'm always just trying to figure out all these different operations that our governments have been doing. They've been doing so many over all these decades. The health and safety of the general population is not a priority. Clearly, it is not a priority. Eugenics, I think, just like the occult shit, I think eugenics, it's just renamed as Planned Parenthood. They encourage abortions when they should be for, like, all the rape incest stuff, 100%. But for emergencies, no? Plan B is crazy. Knowing you're just going to make mistakes so you have a plan B. Pretty crazy. I get the amount of money. I get the marketing. Got Viagra and plan B. A lot of money in it. Pretty crazy. The Planned Parenthood thing. I'm not trying to stand out at fucking in front of abortion clinic. Let me tell you, I don't care if you fucking have them. I just think we should be encouraging babies and families, and it doesn't seem like we do that. It seems like Planned Parenthood is all about getting a woman into the workforce because she is able to provide. That's what it is. Like, go fucking look it up. That was the plan. Get women into the fucking workforce. It's obvious that was the plan. You have 2 fucking people in the house paying taxes. They're all about that. Getting someone on welfare and then it just becomes a generational thing. Government loves that. That's cheap to just keep the population fucking stuck. They do it to a whole bunch of people. Planned Parenthood, or evil, dirty deeds. Some people may have good intentions, but why it was created was for the feeble-minded, the disabled people, black people, Latin people, people of color. Margaret Sanger said it Margaret Sanger said, colored people are like weeds and you need to exterminate them. That's Margaret Sanger. She founded Planned Parenthood and was the big pusher for birth control. So these founders of things, the founder of quantum mechanics, he liked little girls. But Margaret Sanger is a true eugenicist. If you were disabled, you were sterilized. All these people were sterilized. This guy before her, the fuck was that guy's name? Dr. Hazelden, he was just leaving them out. They were born like that. He wasn't letting them get old enough and sterilize them. If they were born with a disability he could notice, he just let them die. He just put them to the side and let them die. All stuff in North America, okay? They're all like, oh, Hitler's so bad. What the fuck is going on over here? Where did he get the ideas from? Here. Fucking stupid. That I think they just secretly do a lot of this shit now. These idiots were doing it out in the open. Margaret Sanger, Hitler, fucking retards. No offense, Mom. If you ever watch this, probably never get through an episode like this. And no pun intended. Those people were just openly doing it because it was openly done everywhere in the world. Eugenics, for some fucking reason, was just widely accepted. Hitler went and killed them. That's where people were like, no. If Hitler wouldn't have killed the Jews and probably just sterilized them, I don't think the United States would have gotten involved. I don't think so. I think once the world found out that they were killing the Jewish people, they found out they were exterminating them. I think that's when they had to jump in. Nah, you know what it was? In my opinion, from what I've read, because I don't believe in the American government, I believe that, just like lots of other ones, it was a little false flag. And the Germans were supposed to stop. Nah, maybe that wasn't that. Maybe that was World War One. I don't know. It's been a long time since I read it. Either World War One or two, they blew up a boat they shouldn't have. The Germans. An American boat. But I believe that was a false flag. Remember when I was looking into it? It seemed like false flag for sure. Just to get the Americans in. I don't know. But eugenics, super popular all around, in North America. Super popular. Then it just became Planned Parenthood. That's what it is. Look at the majority of people that are getting abortions at the abortion clinic. Statistics don't lie. Facts over feelings. No, I'm not ban abortion. I'm believe in it. I don't believe in it after probably like 16 weeks. I think that's, you got long enough to figure it out and get to a place. And then emergency at the end, I get it. Or emergency anytime, I guess. Yeah. But I know they can happen at the end a bunch. Girl I was with had one. I didn't want her to have it, but I support it. Not my body. But I'd like some kids.
interesting end to wrap it. I don't have any witty ending for you. Lots of people are sick fucks. Drop comments. Tell me I'm wrong somewhere. Give me more information on something. I got a billion notes, so I'm gonna have, what's it, Monday? I'll have a bunch of episodes probably this week. I got a lot of thoughts in my notes, in my tabs. Deuces.